Hello, good to see you again. I'm Allison. I'm going to talk today for our music appreciation class about preludes by different composers from the Baroque to the modern era. First, we'll start with J.S. Bach. Johann Sebastian Bach wrote several preludes. As a matter of fact, he's known for writing 48 preludes with matching fugues in his two sets of well-tempered clavier. In the Baroque period, it was a new idea to write a piece in every key. That's 12 major keys and 12 minor keys. So he wrote a prelude and fugue in every key for a keyboard, the harpsichord at that time. And the first one is the most famous from the set of the well-tempered clavier. Quite remarkable that he wrote so many. Now, what is a prelude? Prelude is something that happens before something else. An introduction in the Renaissance. In church music, it was an entry for the churchgoers. In the Baroque era, it usually preceded a toccata or a fugue or another piece. So let's take a listen to the best known of Bach's 48 preludes and fugues. C major. Now that prelude is an exercise in a harmonic progression, starting in the key of C and traveling through other keys, returning back to the key of C. It's essentially chords that have been arpeggiated in this beautiful pattern. Etc. Well, a prelude is usually in Bach's time, it was often improvisatory sounding. And there is no exact form that's required or expected of a prelude. Usually, you'll find that they're miniatures, that they create a mood, that they're sort of little moments in time. And one of the best examples of these is the composer Frederic Chopin, who is attempting to model his 24 preludes after Bach's, but he didn't write fugues to follow them. So there is a prelude for every major and minor key. There are 12 major keys and 12 minor keys. Chopin wrote many that have remained popular performance pieces, but one of the most performed or most played is probably the Raindrop Prelude. which starts with this lovely melody in the right hand, and then it turns into a very brooding and intense minor key in the middle section, and then returns to the major melody. It's in D flat major. It goes into C sharp minor in the intense section, and then it returns to the D flat major key. Now, what's interesting about this is that it was called the Raindrop Prelude well after Chopin wrote it. He never gave it this nickname. But one of the reasons why it's been called so is because of the repeated ostinato rhythm in the left hand. Sounds like a nice gentle rhyme until you get to the middle. So I'll play for you the Prelude number 15 by Chopin in D flat major. Another composer who wrote complete sets of preludes in every key was Sergei Rachmaninoff. His first prelude, the early C-sharp minor prelude, became immensely popular, but it was a single opus on its own, and he despised it, so I'll spare you that one because you've probably heard it many, many times. But I will play for you two of my favorite preludes by Sergei Rachmaninoff, which were published around a little before 1900. They are Opus 32 and Opus 23. And actually, the one that I would like to begin with is the G-sharp minor prelude, which sounds like an old Russian melody with this beautiful ethereal accompaniment. It's deeply beautiful long melody, which Rachmaninoff is known for. And another prelude by Rachmaninoff, which is quite well known, is the D major. Much more slow and romantic in its essence. It's a big lush chords and melody that Rachmaninoff is so well known for. This is from the Opus 23, number 4, Prelude in D major. Thank you for listening. I have one more Rachmaninoff for you, the Prelude in G major, which also has a long flowing melody, but it's much more delicate and even reminiscent of the writing of Debussy, with its filigree patterns and lightness. There are also preludes for orchestra. Some of them are actually preludes taken from overtures or that serve as overtures to operas. One you'll hear is an adaptation of the prelude to Wagner's opera Tristan and Isolde, a Greek tragic love story, and also the prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun, which is the music for a ballet composed by Claude Debussy. In the next segment, I'll be back with some preludes by Claude Debussy and also George Gershwin.